since I can remember, being an ally has been the most important thing to my family. My grandparents both attended here and my mom followed suit, graduating in 1983. I was never forced to apply, but it was the spirit that can never be told running through my blood, and I knew I didn't belong anywhere else. I wasn't always wondering where I should go to college though. All growing up, I went to Plano schools and received an education ranked in the top 1% of all public schools in the nation. I went to preschool through senior year in a formal education setting, but I learned a lot through other experiences as well. Most days, I would come home from school and have responses much like Ted. Since kindergarten, I was in gifted and talented classes where I was taught in a very constructivist manner. Most of my other classes stressed following the objectives for the subject and did very little to suggest other ways of studying. Every once in a while, group projects were encouraged in a social cognitive setting. During 8th grade, I went to Washington, D.C. with my gifted and talented history class, which was a prime example of putting learning into experience. During my junior year of high school, I was in a clinical rotations class, and it was my first experience to leave school during the day since I got to volunteer at the hospital and observe for credit. Through that experience, I got my certified nursing assistant license and watched multiple surgeries be performed, and it eventually led me to decide against pursuing nursing as my career. During junior year, I was placed under stress of standardized testing, and fortunately, I was accepted into Texas A&M to further my formal education. Luckily, I got to go abroad after my freshman year of college and had an internship in Singapore where I was prepared for the real world and immersed in a culture unlike my own.
You know why I say that? I've never seen them doing this.
You have never seen them do this.
No.
It's a parade to respect the priests as they enter the temple.
Now, as I enter into my senior year and transition from styles of teaching students to teaching adults, I have plans to enter the human resources field and graduate college, much like my sister did recently. My walk down the road of education hasn't been confined to traditional classroom settings, but the 4 big subjects of history, English, math, and science also haven't defined it. I've debatably learned more outside of class than I have inside of it. My family that I was placed in is huge and complicated, but they have taught me what it looks like to love beyond what I thought was possible. As well as my immediate family, I've also learned a lot walking through life as a child in a family larger than my own through the kingdom of God. My spiritual journey has molded me into the woman that I am today. Starting from the day of first recognizing grace to today where I watch God be faithful in my life. I was a camper at Sky Ranch Christian Camps for 9 years and have been a counselor there for the last 5, taking what I learned and sharing it with high school girls.
The longer I live, the more I believe you do have to give if you want to receive. There's a time to listen, a time to talk, and you might have to crawl even after you walk. Had sure things blow up in my face, seemed a long shot to win the race. Been knocked down by
I was once a high school girl looking for a role model in my life and found her through the ministry of Young Life, which I am now a leader in Bryan for. These experiences have shaped me through not only teaching me, but allowing me to teach in some situations. They've also helped me to realize that I am a part of something bigger than myself and to give for the cause of the gospel. I'm a sponsor for a young girl named Judith who lives in Lusaka, Zambia, and through my sponsorship, not only does she receive food and clothes, but she also gets to go to school and learn about math as well as about who Jesus is and what he did for her on the cross.
Madeline.
Finally, the educational tour of my life takes a stop by the Learn As You Go station. My family, friends, and religious beliefs take their respective spot on the non-traditional learning environments chart, but what holds the number one slot is the adrenaline rush experiences. I have jumped off cliffs, out of airplanes, with my dad, I might add, traveled across the globe and taken multiple road trips in the middle of the night, and learned through each one of them that life is too short to stay in the classroom. Sometimes you just have to go out and experience it.